Hey guys, I'm back with another video. This time I'm gonna show you my ticket album. This is the Colorado Sports Hall of Fame that was inside of I think the Pepsi Center. I could be wrong. That's my hat label. And the Nets and the Flyers. I'm not a Flyers fan, so there's no Devils on it. So I need to get one. Let's start with this one. The Islanders versus the Devils in the Coliseum. The Yankee Stadium, Yankees versus Red Sox. I think this was for my birthday. Yep, and Jabba had the most strikeouts. And this one is Yankees versus, I believe, Orioles. Or probably, no, I'm sorry. These are the bleachers. This was the second home last game of the Yankee Stadium. Old last name. And the Mets versus Yankees. No, I mean Mets versus Dodgers. This is the one I got Manny Ramirez ball. And second page. And the Nationals versus Phillies. And these were really good seats, and I liked it. It was in center field, and they were cushioned seats. And we didn't pay a lot for it, though. That's great. And I hope I go back for it. It was pretty cool there. And the Yankees versus Seattle Mariners. I think this was A-Rod's 500 home run. And this is the Nets versus 76ers. I was a huge Allen Iverson fan, so that's why I went. And this is my first Giant game versus 49ers. And these were my first Jets game, too. Versus the Saints. We were in box suites. And now, onto this one. This is the Titans versus the Toronto Rocks. This is the lacrosse game, though. And this one is Yankees versus Kansas City Royals. I made a mistake on the A-Rod 500 homework. This one is it. I remember that. It was against the Royals, and we beat them like 16-0. And now on to the Jets versus Cleveland Browns. And I think we lost that game by a field goal or something like that. And this game, it was the Giants versus the Eagles, and it was a great ending to that one. I forget what year it is. I think it was, it won't say, 2006. Holy shit, that's a long time. And the St. John's Red Storms, my dad actually knows one of the pro baseball players now. It's Rob Delaney. And Giants versus the Vikings. I remember going to this one, and it was up in Sky Country, but still worth it, though. Every game is worth it. And this is the Hall of Fame in Cooperstown. And this is the first wrestling event I've ever been to. And of course, it was ECW 2 and SmackDown. And this was Orioles ballpark tour. It was very nice to see all the historic stuff. And the first Red Sox game I've been to. I think it was in what year? I think it was 2008. I think that they won the World Series that year. I could be wrong. And the Pirates versus Astros. This was really old. I remember going to it, and we went on a baseball trip. I don't remember how. I don't remember the whole story. But I'll probably tell you the whole story later on. A Fenway Park tour. Still worth it. It was pretty cool. And this is pretty cool. After the Super Bowl win, they made us they got us this David Tyree Super Bowl catch. And this was the season opener for the Giants. So, yeah, that was pretty cool. I gotta put this back in where it was. Sorry. And the Devils versus the Rangers. Oh man, I have to tell you, that was a blast. Still a blast, but I don't remember. Oh, it was 8-5 or something like that. It was the most goals Lundqvist ever let up that game. Oh, it was a blast. And this one, Devils versus Ottawa. Apparently, I might go to another Devils versus Ottawa game on the 18th, and you will get a vlog for that. And the Devils versus the Flyers. We beat them. I've been to a lot of Devils Flyers games. Most of them were like 99% wins against the Flyers. Devils versus Tampa Bay Lightning. I don't remember exactly so much about it. I think this is the game where Brian Giunta scored or something like that, and I met him in the parking lot. I'll tell you the story of him in our vlog. Islanders versus Devils. Rangers versus Flyers. This was actually the tiebreaker in the Garden, and it was either one team goes in the playoffs. And the Stanley Cup playoffs, round 1, game 3, Devils versus, I'm not sure who, it won't say. It won't say. I think it was Flyers, I could be wrong. I'll look up that later on. And the Newark Bears versus Revolution. I wasn't a big fan of that, but later on they gave us NASCAR tickets, I believe. And the Newark Bears versus Crabs. Pioneers versus Albany Firebirds. And the Yankee Stadium. This is the ticket I think I got when Modell's was giving tickets away, and I went with my brother, and that's when we had the winning hit, and it was a really good game at the end. And this is the first NASCAR race I've ever been to. What else? On that game, I don't remember who it was. I think it was in the actual NASCAR. I think it was just a backup NASCAR. Meaning like those rookie guys that are racing for practice and whatever, not a day before the actual race, which was Saturday or something like that, in Poconos 300, I believe. And the Mets versus the Rock Cats. This is college baseball. I think it's minor baseball. I'm sorry. And Hershey 3D show. That was pretty cool. The Devils versus Capitals. That's a good game, I believe. Oh, whoops. This wasn't supposed to fall out. Sorry. The Wizards, Washington Wizards, the basketball team, versus the Kings. I have some footage. I just can't remember where I put it. The Wizards, that was they had a pretty cool entrance, but they sucked at the ear, I think. But it was a pretty cool experience at Verizon Center. I can't believe I remember that name. The Giants versus Falcons. This was a pretty cool game. I think it was old stadium. This game, it was my first Capitals game, and it was such an experience. Sitting up top, I didn't care where I sat. I just wanted to go to Capitals game. It was just that wanting experience. I wanted to see it, and somehow I just didn't know. It was unbelievable that Ovechkin had a hat trick that night, and I think there was a penalty shot that night too for him, and the siren and the experience of the fans was pretty awesome. I definitely want to go back again. The Nets versus the Bobcats. I think this is the seat. No, I'm not sure which Nets ticket. I think this is probably it. The Nets versus Bobcats. I think I got row 4 or something like that. And to this, I don't remember which net game it was. And when I went to TD Bank or Commerce Bank or whatever it was, at the time you donated $5. You got like a ticket to the game, and we were expecting to be at Skytop, and we went up there. We weren't supposed to be up there, and it was like 4 rows behind the court. It was an amazing experience. But I wasn't I was a huge basketball fan at the time, but not really now. I went to the Devils versus the Leafs. That's a pretty good game. I don't remember a lot of it. If I looked at the date and saw the highlights, I'd probably noticed all these games I've been to. The Yankees versus Orioles. The spring training game. That's when I went on a cruise to a lot of places. I went to Mexico and then came back and ported into Tampa Bay. Yankees versus Orioles inside the training stadium. And this Tampa Bay versus the Rangers. I wanted Tampa Bay to win. Of course, I'm a Devils fan. The Devils versus Tampa Bay again. Even though it was back-to-back Lightning game, but this time it was in Prudential Center, and this was in Tampa Bay. And this one, the Patriots Hall of Fame ticket, which is pretty cool. But we had to run right through it because of I forget what reason, because it was closing or something. But it was still an experience. The Devils versus no idea who was, but still the ticket. But we scalped it, I believe, for that one. And the Nationals versus Diamondbacks for the second time. I think we were behind third base line. I could be wrong. And the Yankees versus no idea. But I think this is 2010, but I'm not sure what team it was. But I've never been to an MLB playoff game. I'm trying to this year with a friend. And this one, Tim McGraw concert. This was actually my first concert. And the Hall of Fame in, I believe, Cooperstown again. Because I went up for my cousin's graduation and we happened to be nearby Cooperstown, so me and my uncle just went there. I was like, let's see if there's any more changes, and I'll go. So I went to see it, and there was a couple changes because the players got into a Hall of Fame and stuff. And for this one, the Islanders at the Islanders Stadium Coliseum versus the Devils. And it was an experience because I got to see the Coliseum for the very first time. And that was pretty cool. Even though it was a road trip, but it wasn't far. It was like an hour or so, or two. Not sure how far. I think it was not far. And the Flyers versus the Penguins at the Flyers Stadium. I think it's Wells Fargo. I could be wrong. And from that point, that game, there wasn't that much of a rowdy kind of a crowd. Every time people say they're the worst fans of any sports team history, I don't ever see any crappy fan experience at that time, or any Flyer games I've ever been to. I've never seen any brutal shit that happens. They keep saying they're the worst. I don't see anything why they're being called that. They might be rude. That's probably my experience, but. And the Devils versus Pittsburgh's Penguins. And the Devils versus the New York Rangers. Of course, every Ranger game and the Devils game is awesome. The Giants versus, who was it? Sean O'Hara, I forget team who they played. Eagles, again. I can't believe I went to a lot of Giants and Eagles and Giants games, too. It's been a lot of Giant games. Mainly because my uncle is a Giant season ticket holder and he usually gets it for Christmas. So I just keep the ticket as a memory. It's always awesome to keep that memory. Devils versus Flyers. Again, as I told you, I've been to a lot of Devils versus Flyers. And the Penguins versus Capitals. I think, yeah, it was in Pittsburgh. And this was the great rivalry going on at the time. And then on the way home, this was actually Christmas present. It was like around February time. And then on the way home, we decided at the last minute just to turn off this exit to go to the Flyer game, even though they were at a great rank at the time. They were fighting for I forget what place. I think it was second or first place or something like that at the time. I don't remember. But it was a great game. But the funny thing, every Philly game or Penguins game or whatever, any team in Philly, or Pennsylvania, they've all lost in front of me. It's unbelievable. And the Monster Jam in Izod Center, even though they were called the Continental Arena back then. And this is the tour of the Console Arena, which is the Penguin Stadium. And this is the Yankees versus Detroit Tigers. This was the season opener. I think this was in 2011, March 31st, and it was raining that day. It was an experience. This was the draft party. This is not actually the draft, but I want to go to the draft soon, but you always get a stick and everything. You can buy, like, a used jersey, but I got 2 sticks for a great price. Bryce Salvador and John Madden. And I went to my first concert with a friend. A first punk rock concert, or whatever you call it, Blink 182. This concert was amazing, and you can see, like, people whatever you call it, mosh pits, and people were pushing each other. It was blasted. If there was another Blink concert or any other kind of bands like that, I'd definitely do it. And it was in PNC Arts Center, and beginning of the show, there was grass on the ground, all green. And at the end of the show, there was no grass whatsoever. Not one freaking grass. It was unbelievable. It was awesome. The Denver Broncos Hall of Fame. And now the Devils versus Oilers. I forget what his name, passed me the puck, and he shortly, not much longer, went to the Canucks. I think Gunnarsson or something like that. Gunnarsson, I think it's believed. The Red Bulls, my first soccer game, versus the Rapids. It was an experience to see the Red Bulls. I definitely want to go again. I might want to get season tickets, even though I'm not a huge Red Bulls fan. And the Nets versus the Knicks. I don't remember too much about it. I think it was a gift. I could be wrong. I'm pretty sure the Nets won. I don't know about that one. And the Colorado Rockies versus the Marlins. Of course, the Rockies won, and Jason Giambi hit a home run from there. I remember that. I was in left field line up top. Pepsi Center tour or whatever thing ticket. The Yankees versus the Red Sox, and I think it was a back-to-back game. The Red Sox again. It was in the September 23rd and the September 24th. What happened was I got tickets for that night, and we were in right field up top. And as we got home, my neighbor was like, he's a huge Yankee fan. He goes, "Oh, are you guys wanting to go tomorrow?" I was like, "We're not gonna buy another ticket." I mean, it was awesome. Yeah. He goes, "Well, I have to give up my tickets because I have to do something." I don't remember what he said. And he gave us the tickets. It was awesome. It was behind home plate. It was experience. And heading on to the Devils versus the Flyers again. The Giants versus, I believe, who is it against? I don't know who it is. I really don't know who it is. Huh? They don't tell us. Huh? That's funny. They don't tell us. I'm not sure what it is. The Devils versus Columbus Blue Jackets. That's when Rick Nash was on there. Oh, my god. This game, believe it or not, was my first Devils versus Rangers at the Garden. Madison Square Garden. The ending was unfreaking believable. What happened was, we were winning 1-0, and Marty broke door. They got hit into Marty broke door, and they had a fight over what was goal or not, and people were going crazy. They were pissed as shit, and they were calling the refs asshole, like that. And it was so funny how people reacted so pissful. It was awesome. I want to go another Devils vs Rangers again, but not sure if it's gonna be back in the Garden. I hope I do come back in the Garden somehow. And the Devils vs Canucks, I was excited for that one, but I think we lost that game. Temple Owls versus Bowling Green Falcons. This is college football in the Eagle Stadium. I forget what the name of the stadium is called. And another Patriots Hall of Fame ticket. I think this is a repeat of something. Another SmackDown event. We were actually pretty close. Not a few rows back, but pretty good experience. Got to see a lot of pyro and everything, but every wrestling event's got to be some experience. Lately, wrestling, it's not been so great lately, so I have to admit that, being a great wrestling fan. But it's sad, though. And now, the Devils versus, I think, Panthers, round 1. I could be wrong. And another Devils versus Panthers, I believe. I could be wrong. The Bruins versus, shit, I forget what this one, Capitals, that's right. That was my first Bruins game, and we went out to Boston for the game, and even though I'm not a Bruins fan, but it was for a hockey experience. You know, I love to travel around to see the new stadiums and everything. And this is the Christmas Spectacular. Devils versus, I'm not sure, but it's playoffs. Every playoff game, they should put a team name, but I guess it was printed early. And then Rockies versus Pirates. At the time, the Rockies were sucking, and the Pirates were really good. And this one, the Jets versus Texans. I believe we lost that game. I could be wrong. The Giants against the Eagles again. Sorry. My first very raw, as you can see, sorry if you can't. My very first WWE Raw, and it was a blast. I think I was very close to the ring. I think row 2. That's my very closest I've ever been to, and it was a Raw. It was awesome. Devils again versus the Flyers. And another WWE event. Oh, Access before WrestleMania 29. And the actual WrestleMania 29 ticket. Freaking great weekend to be a wrestling fan. I definitely want to go back for another WrestleMania. Probably to have a travel package. I hope for 31, but I'm not sure yet. And, oh man. This is a never forget Raw. These fans were on their freaking feet. People were screaming, chanting. Oh man, it was a blast. It was nothing that I could repeat. It was the loudest event I've ever been to. It was the most interacting event. I cannot explain how that overall was awesome. Blast. I definitely want to do that again. Raw after WrestleMania though. And now on to the Newark Bears again versus River Sharks. The Cincinnati Reds versus the Pirates. I went up to Cincinnati for because we were on a road trip to Colorado, and I went to the Cincinnati Reds game. And this is the Reds Museum, and we had to go in really quick because it was during game time, and I didn't want to really miss so much of it. The tour guide of Lucas Oil Stadium, that's the Colts Stadium. And this one, the Eagles versus Jets, and this was pretty cheap. I think it was like $25 or less, something like that. And it was an experience. Oh, rad, New Jersey 1972. You're actually liking my video right now. As I can see that tweet notification. Anyways, back to the Hurricanes versus the Devils. This is the actual road trip game I went down for my spring break last year. And I went down to Carolina. And this is the game where Marty Brookdoor scored the goal. And I met the whole team downstairs. And I snuck down with Peter DeBoer's daughters. And they were freaking smoking hot. I have the whole story to speak about that in my next vlog. Or soon, another vlog. And for this one, Devils versus the Rangers, I think at Prudential Center. Devils versus Islanders. Devils versus Flyers. Devils versus Winnipeg Jets. This is actually the rad New Jersey 1972's ticket. He gave it to me. I went with him. Visited the Jersey Shore when we had the tragedy that happened in New Jersey about the Seaside Heights and the Hurricane Sandy. And this is my final ticket. I'm hoping I can add on to more. Devils versus Carolina Hurricanes. And that is pretty much it. Thanks guys for watching. I hope you enjoyed my tickets. And I plan on to going more. And I'm planning on to go to the 18th game versus the Senators. Because of the vouchers, and I hope I go to a lot more to finish the book. As you can see, to finish the book, I need to finish all these pages. That's on my bucket list, to finish all these pages, even though it's gonna be a lot of long ways to go. I got a long ways to go. And this is video 6, I believe, out of December, and apparently I was supposed to get the 20th anniversary of DVD collection. Now I'm probably not gonna. I'm not sure. Not sure what my next vlog is gonna be. And that's it for tonight, guys. Peace!